Let us try to understand an erroneous way of thinking called catastrophizing. This is related to the phrase making a mountain out of a molehill. This is where we make very big issues of relatively small and minor things. Example, if I don't do really well in this presentation, I will lose my job. If I don't get through IIT, I will never be financially stable. Or, if I don't get this home loan, I'll never be able to buy a home in this life. Let us understand a little more with the story. Meera and Jenny get along really well and have decided to exercise daily together so they can motivate each other. They decide to start by jogging in a park near their house. Both of them have never jogged before. Jenny says that she was a lot into sports in school and had good stamina, so she was sure she could jog at least a couple of kilometers easily. Meera was a little worried, as she hadn't really jogged before. However, she was a dancer in school and felt she wouldn't be too bad and would be able to at least walk a few kilometers, if not jog. In their shoes and workout clothes, they start to jog slowly. Within a few minutes, Jenny has a pulled muscle. Meera intends to go on, but within a few hundred feet, she too feels tired and is extremely out of breath. She comes home and plonks herself on a sofa. She finds Jenny sitting with an ice pack. They both look like wounded soldiers from a battle. Seeing this, Meera begins to think that they will never be able to do this. They were relying on each other to motivate themselves and weren't able to get through a single day. This means it would never happen. Meera feels sad and low. She really wanted to do this for herself, but now everything seems to be over. The only option now is to simply give up. In this situation, do you think Meera's thoughts fall under the category of catastrophizing? Yes or no? Yes, indeed it does. Meera is making a big deal about almost nothing. When anyone exercises for the first time or after a long gap, it takes time to get back to it. The first attempt may not be what we are expecting, but eventually we can get to where we want to. It really wasn't a situation where they needed to simply give up. Now, let's take a moment to think about why catastrophizing is unhelpful. Catastrophizing pushes us to make very big problems out of relatively small issues. When we do that, our feelings associated with big problems take over, and we get into crisis mode. We are unable to think of practical, simple solutions and end up making decisions like, let's just give up. Now, in this same situation as Meera, what could be some helpful alternate thoughts? That first day was hard, but we learned some real lessons. We need to start slow, make sure we warm up, and not expect miracles. Maybe we aren't as fit as we were in school, but we can work our way up to a decent level of fitness. Or, I am glad we at least tried today. After months of just thinking about it and planning for it, we finally stepped out of the house and did something today. Yay! Any other helpful thoughts you can think of here? Great job! Let us now look at how we can generate these helpful thoughts when we are indulging in catastrophizing. Work on the unhelpful thinking pattern. Let's start with the thought diary and note down the situation, thoughts, feelings, behaviors that are bothering us. Identify the problematic thoughts and feelings that cause us to react. Recognize the ones that indicate the distortion, catastrophizing. For example, after going for a run today for the first time in our life and not being able to run much, we think of the worst-case outcome of the situation. Meera has the thought, it would never happen. Everything seems to be over. She feels sad. Similarly, we can identify our thoughts and feelings indicative of the distortion. Once we have identified the pattern, that is the distortion, we can move on to the next step, finding the evidence behind those thoughts or beliefs. Finding the truth. Where is the evidence? In catastrophizing, we make a mountain out of a molehill. We magnify the worst-case outcomes of a situation and start believing them to be true. In fact, we believe so strongly in them that we are unable to consider any other possibilities. Like in Meera's case, her thinking that not being able to run more than a few minutes in the first run of her life means she will never be capable of running again. This is an extreme conclusion. We need to go back to the basics and start with analyzing the truth in it. We first start with a few questions. Where is the evidence to support that only the worst can happen? Have we checked the facts? What does statistics say? Did every marathon runner run the fastest and longest race the first time they ran? Did they give up in the first try itself? Do you also approach other things in life in the same way? What about the things that you are good at? For example, at work or in school, don't you fail the first few times and gradually learn the tricks and techniques slowly? It is very unrealistic to expect ourselves to succeed in anything the first time itself. These are faulty expectations which we should learn to stay away from. We are also clearly ignoring how the body really works. To be able to run for at least 5 to 10 minutes, you need to do a warm-up. It's also common knowledge that we need to keep fit to have strong leg and body muscles that can take the weight while running. So now that we see there are so many facts about and around running that we have been ignoring, let's work towards developing a whole perspective, something that doesn't break so easily. We can help ourselves by generating alternative perspectives like these. It was only my first run, and what matters most is that I tried my best. Or, the first run is often difficult for everyone because our body is not tuned for it. It will come with practice. Or, it was so amazing that I went running for the first time in my life. I will surely try again, etc. Developing a whole perspective. Decatastrophizing. Decatastrophizing is a specific technique that works by asking you to consider different possibilities or outcomes for your situation. We start by asking, what else is really possible? What is the probability that my worst fear will come true? What is the possibility that other outcomes can also happen? Give them a percentage, like 90% or 10%. Then try to validate your assumptions for why you think only your worst fear will come true. Why is something else not possible? Is it possible that I may be simply overthinking this? Am I just worrying too much? Sometimes, talking to another person may also help to get a fresh perspective.